We're bombarded with ideas every day about how things should be. Sometimes it's in the name, and sometimes we just fill in the gaps regarding the look and functionality of everyday things. From the truth about our favourite cartoons, to the lies about some of our favourite foods. Here's a very tongue-in-cheek list of things that prove your life, or very minuscule but super interesting things in your life, is a lie.
Amazing!
Number 10. That's not ice cream. Ironically, people most enjoy ice cream on hot days, when it melts the fastest. But even in cold weather, once that frozen treat is out of the freezer, it starts to melt in no time. This presents a problem for advertisers trying to photograph the perfect ice cream, especially considering the bright, hot lights needed for professional photography. And that's why when we look at a picture of ice cream, we're basically being lied to. What you actually see in that drool-inducing commercial may be a picture of mashed potatoes with enough food colouring to make it look like chocolate, strawberry, or mint chocolate ice cream. A combination of powdered sugar, vegetable shortening, and corn syrup is also commonly used. Either way, this gives photographers time to take a variety of shots. Then the ads run, and I scream, you scream, we all scream, because it's fake. Number 9. Butterflies aren't so innocent. If you ask anyone to name a beautiful, harmless insect, chances are they'll go for a butterfly. They're majestic and can't hurt anyone or anything, right? Well, our preconceived notions about them seem to be slightly wrong. They aren't all nectar, flour and sugary bits, like we've been led to believe. They can be savage. Look at this photo of butterflies scavenging on a dead fish. How embarrassing it must have been for that fish to explain in the afterlife that he was killed by a load of butterflies. Although you'd have thought that being reincarnated as a butterfly would have meant a life of tasty, sugary feasts, it's not quite so nice. Butterflies regularly feast on rotting meat, animal dung, and decaying corpses. Ew! Look at this picture of them feasting on a pile of poop. I expected better from such an elegant insect. Number 8. Astronaut ice cream. Have you ever heard about all the awesome food astronauts eat up in space? Stuff like astronaut ice cream. You might have even tasted some out of curiosity. If you have, it's about time you found out that you still haven't eaten anything like real astronauts do. You've been cheated. You see, some press releases and news articles showed that vanilla ice cream was used as part of an astronaut's meal plan on the Apollo 7 mission. And these rumours ran like wildfire, to the point of it becoming common knowledge that astronauts had a special space version of ice cream. The National Air and Space Museum and Apollo 7 astronaut Walt Cunningham have confirmed that ice cream never made it onto a flight. That is, until more recently, when NASA blessed astronauts with freezers on their ships for real ice cream. It seems the space ice cream rumours were taken advantage of by companies wanting to make more money selling terrible food based on novelty. Number 7. Coyote vs Roadrunner. Looney Tunes was a classic animation series produced by Warner Bros, and you're likely very familiar with its array of characters, from Bugs Bunny to Porky Pig and Elmer Fudd. Perhaps two of the most famous enemies from the short films are arguably Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner. The classic storyline goes that Coyote wants to eat Roadrunner, but he's so much slower. Therefore, he decides the best way to capture the Roadrunner is to devise a load of seemingly ingenious traps. These traps always somehow seem to backfire massively in the most unlikely of ways, as Roadrunner just goes around his daily business of running marathons for fun. The truth is that Coyote never really needed to get up to all his silly antics, had the team at Warner Bros. Done thorough zoological research. The reason? Real coyotes are not slower than real roadrunners. Coyotes have a maximum speed of up to 43 miles per hour when they are in pursuit of their prey. This is far faster than a roadrunner, which can run at a top speed of 20 miles per hour. So, had Wile E. Coyote really tried, he should have had no problem running circles around Roadrunner before devouring his prey. Warner Bros., it seemed, lied to us all. They could have just gone with another real predator of a roadrunner, such as a skunk, which is actually slightly slower than its prey. Though, then again, a coyote is just great entertainment value. A sort of poetic license. One could argue that bunnies don't exactly talk, or Tasmanian devils don't exactly spin like tornadoes either. Number 6. MJ didn't have anti-gravity powers. Michael Jackson was the king of pop. His incredible music and popularity gave him a near mythic status, which leads me on to one of his iconic moves, his ability to seemingly defy gravity. Jackson frequently performed his gravity-defying lean during shows, with backup dancers able to perform it as well. However, this trick wasn't due to some hidden powers MJ had, or could pass on to his dancers. It was basically just a very smart magic trick, reserved for the king of pop himself. Michael Jackson had a clever shoe which had a slit in them and connected directly to a sort of peg that was secured to the floor. This inventive contraption had even been patented by the star, enabling anyone to lean as far as you want without falling over. Number 5. Cars in adverts are faked. Adverts on TV are a great way to sell cars. Just show a spotless car driving flawlessly on a beautiful country road and half the work is done. Yet, when you watch any car commercial or car scenes in movies, chances are the car you're watching isn't actually real. You're being lied to, yet again. CGI in commercials these days is rampant. In other words, most of the cars you see have actually been created on the computer. To achieve this, visual effects companies like The Mill actually employ a bare-bones automobile rig that looks like a pared-down contraption from a Mad Max movie. With it, they are able to transpose the image of any car design or brand over the top of it in post-production, eliminating the need to use real cars at all. You can understand why they do it, because it saves them money getting the real thing, and also means they can finish the commercial and start promoting the car prior to its full completion date. Still, there's no doubt it's a rather deceiving strategy. Number 4. I before E, except after C. This is a classic English spelling rule our teachers have been telling us for years. It's taught in middle and preschool as a sort of rhyme, and many of us have grown up with it all our lives, so just blindly take the rule as completely accurate. In case you forgot, it helps you decide whether a word is spelt with IE or EI. So remembering this rule of thumb has helped us remember how to spell words like siege, as in this example, because there is no C, I comes before E. However, words like ceiling show that with C before both letters, they switch to EI. But this is not always the case. One exception is the word efficient. The rule isn't very efficient here, as it totally fails to work, and in fact, from close to 4,000 possible listed words, it also doesn't work with 11 so-called irregular words such as ancient, conscience, either, and height. Some examinations of it agree that it is generally quite a good rule that does mostly work, though its jingle is what makes it special. So, to avoid misspelling words in the future, keep this rule in mind, but don't always take it as face value, because it can be a bunch of lies. Number 3. Penguins have knees. Penguins are super cute animals that we all think are covertly conspiring behind our backs in slick black tuxedos and bow ties. It's just the way they waddle. It's cute, but sneaky in a sort of strange way. And whilst we may look at a penguin and think its legs are just really small, irrelevant appendages, we're not really seeing the full picture. From this picture, ask yourself, does a penguin really have knees? I for one would admit that it definitely does not look like it does. But all you're really seeing is a very small part of the whole picture. Have a look at this X-ray and you can see that penguins certainly do have knees. The majority of the penguin's leg's skeletal structure is inside its body to keep it warm. This skeleton also no longer makes it look so cute, but it is still pretty surprising to see what the penguins have been hiding. Number 2. Palm trees aren't trees after all. Thanks to Jim Tim for notifying us about this one. Palm trees are the hallmark of paradise, usually accompanied by a white beach and plenty of coconuts. Except, it seems their name isn't an accurate botanical representation of what they really are. They are tall and sturdy, with large leaves and a trunk, but those traits aren't really enough to make them legitimate trees. There are a number of important differences between actual trees and palms. For example, unlike trees, palms have no bark or woody tissue. Also, more importantly, palm trees do not produce a cambium layer, that part of a tree between the bark and the interior, that produces new growth each year. This can be seen if you cut horizontally through a tree's trunk, which would essentially show rings. Yet, a cut through a palm's would not. The trunk of a palm is simply a mass of spongy, hardened material that expands as the palm grows taller. There are a load more qualifications to classify a tree, and a palm really just doesn't cut the mustard. However, a lot of people are also wrong for assuming that they're grasses. They're not quite grasses either. Although palms are indeed classified as monocots, along with grasses, onions and lilies, they're a distinct separate family from grasses. Therefore, they are closer related to grasses than trees, but they are distinct from both of them. Number 1. The green gummy bear. Most people love gummy bears, those squishy sweets that you just can't stop eating once you've started. They all have the same shape, but their colours are different, which surely indicates that each bear is a different flavour. Why else would one be coloured green whilst another is red? Surely the unofficial law of processed foods is that the colour indicates that it's flavoured the same as a fruit of the same colour. Red would therefore indicate a red fruit like a strawberry, whilst yellow usually indicates a lemon flavour, and green a sort of apple or lime flavour, right? Wrong. Green is actually strawberry. And the red gummy bears aren't strawberry or cherry, but actually raspberry. It makes no sense to me, but according to Haribo, the largest manufacturer of these gummy bear sweets in the world, the green gummy bears have always been strawberry flavoured. What makes the discovery even crazier after all of this time is that the flavours are clearly labelled on the packaging, but you've probably never paid close attention. So whilst we've been expecting lime, it's just been a very deceitful lie. If you didn't notice, your taste buds need a good calibration, unless you're not from the United States. According to SeriousEats.com, Haribo varieties vary greatly depending on the country they're sold in. Serious eaters from the website insisted that those made in the Haribo homeland of Germany tasted vastly different to those sold in the US, which are made in Turkey. From this picture you can see the German gummies on the top, and the American ones on the bottom. The German varieties come with an extra flavour, apple. Not only are the American ones more vivid in colour than the German ones, which are made with natural colours, they are also more true to their colour code. The red gummies in Germany are actually strawberry flavoured, whilst the American strawberry is still green. To make it even more confusing, a Haribo spokesperson confirmed that in the Gold Bears version, the green bear is actually apple flavoured. Unless you live in America, that is. Then it's still strawberry. Do you know of any other surprising things that could have made this list? And which one did you think was the most surprising? I'd be interested to know, so leave a comment down below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop it a like and subscribe, clicking that bell icon to stay updated. Thanks for watching.